America is on the brink of collapse. So, yeah, it's not like we didn't see this coming. Things are going from bad to worst. The structure in the United States is changing rapidly. We're experiencing what we know as significant greedflation, and they are finding new ways every single day to steal and extract as much money as possible from us. I mean, it's a sad reality. For one thing, they're doing these things called surge pricing. They're starting off doing them at fast food restaurants. So, depending on the time of day when you order your food, when you go inside to get your food, the prices change. They already do it using the applications like DoorDash and Uber Eats, but now they're practicing it at actual restaurants. It doesn't matter if you go into the restaurant. So, your Big Mac could cost $7 at McDonald's in the during at 8 p.m. when there might be a lower rush versus 12 p.m. when there's a lot more people that are trying to order McDonald's, and as a result, it could cost $10 at 12 p.m. or during periods of time when there's a lot more traffic. Yeah, they're not just doing this with food, but they're also looking towards doing this obviously with other things like consumer products, fluctuating prices. So, for example, they do actually do kind of do something like this in other countries, but it's going to become a normalized thing in the United States where the amount that you pay for a product in a store could change by the day, especially as we move towards a more AI driven society. So you go to pick up prices, and literally it could change by the time of day. If there are more people shopping for a certain item during a certain time of the day, they know that people are not going to go home without that item, so they're going to raise the prices even slightly, and they're going to keep on calculating how much they can raise them by. Now in California, they're literally planning a scheme where you would pay per mile when you drive. This is insane. Yes, and this is something that is not only in the works for California, but it's being considered in other parts of the country, potentially the entirety of the United States, but a pay per mile tax. I'm going to show you this video from from Snyder Reports. I'm going to link his channel in the description so you can go and check out his channel. But this is insane stuff. A pay per mile gas tax. I mean, guys, America is on the brink of collapse with the high inflation, with everything else happening. And now this is the scheme that they're doing, the $20 minimum wage in California, where yeah, and guys, I have lunatics in my comment section who are saying that even a $50 minimum wage is not a lot to ask for when you consider how bad inflation is today. Guys, $50 minimum wage. I just want you guys to think about it. Think about how insane these people are. There are people literally saying that a $50 minimum wage is not too much to ask for. These people are crazy. And sometimes there will be some of you guys who will say, well, angry, you're making it up. Nah, bro, I brought receipts. And this is just like one person. I've seen another person who also said this, but this is just from one of them. Avar says, if you account for inflation, 50 an hour isn't crazy at all for minimum wage. Yeah. In fact, it's conservative. Why should any generation have their time/laboring energy stolen from them? They shouldn't. If 50 sounds like a lot, that's because that's because you've also been stolen from, and now you can't afford the true cost of the service you want. That's simple. Do some more research on the matter, mate. Guys, 50 an hour works out to $100,000 a year. These people are pushing for a $50 minimum wage. If you start printing money and just handing it out to the average person, what it does, it doesn't increase. It does not increase it does not increase wages for everyone. The reality is that it makes my money worth less. And you start paying everyone $50, landlords start charging more. Companies start charging more. Okay? You think PlayStation is a lot right now at $500? Okay, well, guess what? When you have a $50 minimum wage and now it's $1,200, it's going to start. That's when you're gonna look back and say, Wow, man, I remember when PlayStation was only $50. Yeah, that was cheap, you know. PlayStation 5 Pro, only 15.99, man. 15.99. What are you talking about, bro? That's a steal. iPhone, get ready for $3,000 iPhones. These people are insane. Insane. This is what they want the minimum wage to be. $50 an hour. $100,000 a year. So some guy at McDonald's should be making $100,000 a year. And you have these people like saying, "Oh well, you know, if you're working at McDonald's, let's be real, it's all adults working there because they want it to be all adults working there." No, it's all adults working there because these people won't leave these jobs alone and allow young people to get them. They won't move on to other things. This is so they're the ones literally driving this because they don't want to be skilled labor. They don't want to create actual value. They don't want to have to learn things. Like these people are just so insane right now. Let's go ahead and jump into the video from Snyder Reports before I keep ranting.
What if I told you that states could soon adopt a pay-by-the-mile gas tax? Yeah, that means it doesn't matter if you drive 1,000 miles a year or you drive 50,000 miles a year. You would pay a pay-by-the-mile, not pay per gallon. This is actually a big thing. California is planning on testing this out this summer. I want to break down what's going on that is going to impact you because, again, California is the state that starts something, and then if it's successful, other states adopt that exact same policy. So I'm going to break this down in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So one of the big things that many people have discussed over the past couple of years is to eliminate the federal gas tax. That's something that has been talked about just so many times. Certain states have actually eliminated their state gas tax. I know Florida did it. Other states followed as well, that they eliminated their gas tax for a short period of time to help out the people, their residents. Well, look at this. California considers charging drivers by the mile. And the reason for this is because the federal government is trying to do away with petroleum-based cars. They want to go all electric. But here's the problem. If they go all electric, the way that they're receiving their gas tax is by people filling up at the pumps. Here's the problem. Electric vehicles are charged like $100 a year. That's how much it costs. It's like $100 a year in order to register them. That's it. Well, guess what? It costs much more than that if you have to pay a pay by the mile. I want to read you something. And then I want to show you kind of what they're discussing. It says, a new tax system that charges drivers based on miles driven instead of the fuel consumed is being tested by California, driven by the state's growing number of electric vehicles. It says the state's gas tax, which has traditionally funded road maintenance and is one of the reasons why California has some of the highest pump prices in the country, is collected every time drivers fill their gas tanks. But as more Californians switch to electric cars, 1.2 million EVs are already on the roads, revenue from gas tax is dropping. That's a concern. And then the roads are going to feel the impact. Well, look at this. It says the state estimates that the trend could blow a $4.4 billion hole in its budget over the next decade. It says on average, Californians pay about $300 a year in gas taxes. It says EVs have a $100 annual registration fee. That's a $200 million loss. Now, keep this in mind. Californians pay about $300 per year in a gas tax. But here's the interesting thing. Based off of recent reports, the average American travels about 14,500 miles per year. Okay? Now, what they're actually proposing, though, to address the gap, it says Caltrans is seeking volunteers to pilot a mileage tax, which the state believes to be a fairer system than the current gas tax. The cost of the per mile tax would be about 3 cents per mile. Now, that's the reason why. 3 cents per mile, the average American travels about 14,500 miles per year. If you were to factor that in, that means that by paying a pay per mile, you are going to pay about $435 a year. But in this article, it just said on average, Californians pay about $300 a year in state gas taxes. So at 3 cents per mile, they're actually increasing the amount of money that they're charging. That is the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention, because if states adopt this exact same thing, you're going to feel it. Look at this. This is the state gas tax. This is how much how much you pay when you go and fill up your gas tank at the pump. 54 cents in California, 49 in Washington, 20 in Texas, 18 cents in New York, 32 down in Florida. Okay, you see it's a big difference. It varies all over the United States. Right? Look at this. 8 cents in Alaska, 16 in Hawaii.
Guys, this is ridiculous stuff. Absolutely ridiculous. All of the money is being sucked out of us. They don't care. Like they don't care whatsoever. They're looking for every possible way to suck every single nickel and dime out of us, where we will own nothing and be happy. You will literally own nothing. You will have no money. You will own nothing. You will have nothing. Like everything will be gone. They will take everything from us. You will barely be able to eat. You will have no phone. You will have no internet. You will have no roof over your head. You will have nothing. Okay, you will literally scrape by for the rest of your days. And let me just tell you something about the baby boomers. Because these people are so bad. So bad. Okay? Like, I see the comments that they are leaving, and they basically don't care what's happening to other generations right now. They are just trying to get theirs and get out as quickly as they can. That's the honest to goodness truth. I want to make it very, very clear, like, who these people are. They are trying to get their money and get out as quickly as they can. They don't care if people can eat or not or survive. And then you wonder why. Gen Z is a terrible generation. But the baby boomers are so mean, so malicious, so greedy, so hostile, so crooked, that they are literally leaving with us with nothing whatsoever. And they're watching everything crumble around us, and they're laughing about it. All of this culture, like, where do you think woke came from? Woke came from the hippies. Who were the hippies? The hippies were the boomers. All of the crap that's happening right now, all of the socialist ideals, anti-capitalism, all of that garbage, everything around us, it's the boomers. And the boomers are, guys, these are terrible people. They're the ones blaming everyone else. Oh, it's a man behind the curtain. Wokeism came from a man behind the curtain? Yes, it's the man behind the curtain. You're the ones who voted for this. In fact, you're the ones who are promoting this degeneracy back in the 70s. It's not us. How did Social Security end up in the condition it did? Someone took the money. Who took the money? The politicians took the money. What did they do with the money? They put it in their pockets. All of it? All of it? I don't know what happened to the money. I just need to get my Social Security before I leave this earth. All of it. Excuse me? I earned it. I earned it. Oh, really? Oh, really? Yes. Guys, the boomers. The boomers. Stop believing the boomers. Stop letting them feed you lies. Stop letting them try to convince you that there was this great secret force that was planning to take away all our freedoms and all of our rights. Listen to me. It's the baby boomers who voted for all of this. George Carlin warned us, all right? He said it. These are the same people. We went to school with these exact same people. They went to the same universities as we did, okay? They're the same communities as we are. They're not hiding, okay? These politicians, the so-called man in black, the people who are controlling everything. It's these people. Look at how they vote, and then notice when things go, when things go horribly wrong, they say that it's someone else who did it. Bro, you voted for this. You continue to vote for this. You're still voting for this. It's not my fault. I don't really know how this happened. Guys, these people are bad. Stop listening to them. Stop believing them. All right? They're going they could care less what happens to anyone else. They're so selfish. So selfish. It's insane. And I hear some people like, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter. You as a man, you need to basically serve your country and your family and all this other." No, as men, we need to prioritize ourselves. Oh, if you're like that, then you're not a real man. Guys, do you see how they operate? You see what these people say? When they want to use you and suck you dry of all of your value, they tell you that you're not a real man unless you sacrifice yourself for others. You're not a real man unless you sacrifice yourself for others, unless you give all of your value to others without ever asking for in a thing in return. Only you're not a real man if you're not selfless. You're not a real man if you have standards. You're not a real man if you don't tolerate if you refuse to tolerate BS. Guys, this is a joke. This is why as men we must walk away. Walk away from Western society, walk away from these relationships. If you find a good woman in Western society or somewhere else in the rest of the world, walk away with her. Walk away on your terms. If you have a good job that you're happy with, you know and you feel and you're glad with that, walk away on your terms. Okay, walk away how you choose to walk away, but don't sit around and act like this is all normal and oh it's going to get better and I'm just going to live like we've all been living. You can't. You really can't. Okay, you have to be awake and if something is off in your life, if something is not working for you, if you're happy where you are, then you're fine. All right. But even then, even if you were, even realistically, I can't tell you how to walk away. But realistically, if you're sitting there and you're happy where you're at, that's good. But just being happy and being prepared are two very different things. Because there are some people who are just like, they're happy and they're content with what they have, but that doesn't mean they're in a very good place. I'm just being very honest with you. There's a lot of people who they're living in poop right now. They have no savings. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and they're happy. And yeah, that's stupidity. That's really really stupidity. Like I can't tell you how to walk away, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you don't live paycheck to paycheck. It's like one of those things. It's really one of those things. And it's one thing if you're in a position where you're like, I can't do any better. I cannot do any better right now. And you're trying to actively work towards doing better versus someone who says, no, I'm good. It's not that I can't do better. It's just that I don't want to. And you know what? That's your choice. And you can live that way if you choose to, and you could say you're happy living that way, but don't sit around and act like, when something goes downhill and when your life is destroyed, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm homeless now and I can't survive. How did this happen? Dude, you were living paycheck to paycheck and you were happy. Living paycheck to paycheck. And you said that it's not because you couldn't do better, it's because you didn't want to, because you were happy like this. And I said, I can't tell you what to do, but don't live paycheck to paycheck. And you kept on living paycheck to paycheck anyway because you were lazy. And now you are homeless and you are crying and you are hungry. And, I'm not sorry for you. I don't feel bad for you. It's just literally one of those things. It's literally one of those things. Like you have to have common sense. You choose what you want to do with your life, but don't blame others, and definitely don't come crying back to other men when you were told not to do specific things. Like if you're doing absolute foolery, like going like for example, like you're going out and you're raw dogging it with evening delights, as Mayumi likes to call them, and then you catch the dragon, and you were told don't go out and raw dog it. I can't tell you what to do, but do not go out and raw dog it with Evening Delights, and you decided that you're going to be your own big man, and you went out, you raw dogged it with Evening Delights, and you caught the dragon, and now you're angry at the world, and you were told, don't go out and raw dog it with Evening Delights. You can't really do much for these types of people. It's like on one hand, you can't tell people how to live their lives. On the other hand, it's like, if you see someone, there's a cliff, and it says, and you're like, and if you walk over that cliff, that's going to be the end of you, or you're gonna be really, really messed up, if you survive. And you say to someone, I can't tell you not to walk over that cliff. Don't walk over that cliff. If you go over that cliff, you are going to be in a world of hurt. Many have gone over that cliff. You cannot walk on air. And the idiot does it. And the unfortunate thing is, many of you will go, well, not my problem. The problem is that when these idiots think that they can walk on air, and it doesn't work out for them, they turn around and they want to drag everyone else down because they thought that they could walk on air. They thought that they were Peter Pan and they were going to fly when they went off that cliff, and it just didn't work out that way. Tinkerbell didn't come with pixie dust and fix them up. No, the paramedics had to airlift them, their mangled self off the side of that cliff because they thought they could fly. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to just be absolutely horrible, absolutely terrible in Western society. It's going to be one ugly place to live. It's becoming an extremely ugly place to live right now. And they're just going to charge us for everything. All right. I mean, guys, when things were going down back, a couple of years ago, I thought soon they were going to start charging us for the air that we breathe. I really thought like we were going to have to start paying like that's where it was going. Like, you're going to have to pay a fee to breathe the air. Like, oh, you're going to need this specific thing if you want to be able to safely breathe the air. Basically a new tax just to breathe the air. Like, what's the last thing that we can monetize? The air. The air isn't safe to breathe anymore. But if you pay this low fee of, a couple $1,000s a year, now you can safely breathe the air. Oh, God. Guys, if you enjoyed the content on this channel, don't forget I have another channel called Men Walking Away, where I release daily videos. There's a link to the Men Walking Away channel description of the video. Go check it out. Subscribe to the channel. Support my work. What do you think regarding all of this? Do you agree that America is on the brink of collapse? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Let's talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, Men Walking Away. And cheers.